Night City, a jungle of chrome, blood, and broken dreams. But tonight, we fracture the timeline. Tonight, we ask, what if Johnny Silverhand had survived the assault on Arasaka Tower? December 20th, 2023. Johnny Silverhand leads an assault on Arasaka Tower to liberate Alt Cunningham from Arasaka control. In our known history, Johnny dies. Executed by Atom Smasher, his psyche later trapped inside the infamous relic. But in this divergent timeline, something shifts. During the infiltration, Morgan Blackhand arrives sooner than planned. His strike team engages Atom Smasher before Johnny confronts him alone. The fight is brutal, but coordinated. Smasher is forced into retreat rather than execution mode. Johnny survives, wounded but breathing. The bomb still detonates. The tower burns. Saburo Arasaka's experimental data is partially lost, but enough survives to fuel future horrors. Johnny walks out alive. The legend lives, not as a ghost in the machine, but as a man. The survival of Johnny Silverhand sends shockwaves through Night City. Sammy's networks and pirate radio explode with news of his escape. The legend of Silverhand shifts from martyrdom to revolution. The anti-corporate underground rallies around him, not a symbol of sacrifice, but a living general. Militech, seeing an opportunity, approaches Johnny quietly. They offer resources to continue destabilizing Arasaka. But Johnny refuses corporate strings, even from Militech. Instead, he strengthens the Edgerunner coalitions, the Mox, the remnants of the Aldecaldos, rogue Netwatch factions, and underground fixers, rogue Amendiaries. No longer haunted by Johnny's digital ghost, becomes his chief strategist and liaison. Together, they form what becomes known as the Collective, a loosely allied resistance movement, not a corporation, but something dangerously close. Arasaka survives the Towerstorm, but deeply wounded. The embarrassment fuels Saburo's personal vendetta. In this timeline, Yorinobu Arasaka remains exiled longer, viewed as weak for not preventing Silverhand's rise. Saburo doubles down on covert operations with net access crippled post-data crash. Arasaka accelerates its research into biological and psychological warfare. The experimental mind control division, previously theoretical, is pushed into full-scale development. Instead of relying on the relic as a prototype, they produce field-ready behavioral override chips, devices capable of turning enemies into living weapons without full engram transfer. Meanwhile, Atom Smasher is rebuilt, not just as a killing machine, but as Arasaka's walking symbol of vengeance. Fully upgraded, nearly post-human, his orders are simple: find and neutralize Silverhand. Night City itself transforms under the pressure. Militech and Biotechnica, emboldened by Arasaka's faltering position, move aggressively into the city's southern districts. The Pacifica Free Zone becomes a brutal testing ground for new tech and proxy wars. The Voodoo Boys splinter. Some factions ally with Silverhand's Collective, offering deep net access and rogue AIs. Others strike deals with Arasaka, desperate for protection against Militech incursions. The NCPD collapses into further irrelevance, becoming little more than a privatized extension of whoever offers the biggest contracts. The Aldecaldos, meanwhile, thrive. With Johnny's support, they secure trade routes, smuggling lanes, and growing influence beyond the Badlands, forming a nomad buffer zone between Militech's corporate war machine and Night City proper. But survival changes a man. Johnny Silverhand, the anarchist, the rebel, the terrorist, begins to confront the cost of ongoing war. As the collective grows, so does bureaucracy. Power structures form. Deals are made. Rogue brokers peace talks, while Johnny plays the public figure. Some accuse him of becoming the very thing he fought against. Behind closed doors, Johnny wrestles with his ideals. He remains fiercely independent, but more pragmatic. The line between freedom fighter and warlord blurs. His relationship with Rogue rekindles, complicated, tense, but functional. Carrie Eurodyne reemerges, his music fueling the revolution's public identity. Samurai reforms, not as a band, but as a cultural weapon against corporate control. Even Johnny's music changes, no longer only about rebellion, but about the price of resistance. And what of V? In this timeline, the biochip exists, but the relic lacks Johnny's engram. Saburo still develops engram tech, but on a separate track. V's story becomes radically different. They steal the chip, but it's purely experimental. No digital parasite, no battle of personalities. Instead of being haunted by Johnny, V becomes one of Johnny's key operatives, a new face of the resistance. Without the engram conflict, V's climb through Night City's underworld is more grounded, but equally dangerous. V's romance options remain, but their choices carry new political weight. Judy Alvarez, for example, becomes a voice advocating for collective oversight of net freedom, while Panam and the Aldecaldos serve as critical logistic hubs. Each companion's path directly influences the collective's policies. As the war between the collective and Arasaka escalates, a darker threat brews beneath the surface: the Blackwall. In this timeline, rogue AIs and fractured data ghosts multiply, feeding on the chaos. Netwatch can no longer contain the breaches. Both Militech and Arasaka secretly experiment with limited AI integration, hoping to create digital weapons capable of predictive warfare. Alt Cunningham, still trapped beyond the Blackwall, reaches out to Johnny directly, not as a fragmented echo, but as a fully autonomous presence. She warns him, "The war you're fighting will birth something neither you nor Saburo can control." Johnny faces an impossible choice: continue the war, risking AI ascendance, or negotiate an uneasy truce with Arasaka to contain the Blackwall's growing influence. By 2077, Night City is a powder keg. Arasaka remains wounded, but dangerously adaptable. Militech's ambition grows unchecked. The collective teeters between revolution and governance. Rogue intelligences whisper from behind the Blackwall. Johnny Silverhand, still standing, becomes both a symbol of hope and a cautionary tale. A man who survived the fire, only to walk deeper into shadow. The final fracture looms. Will Johnny negotiate with the devils he once swore to destroy? Will V ascend as the next leader of the collective? Or will the Blackwall break entirely, ushering in a new war beyond human control? One man survived the tower. One decision rewrote Night City's future. But in the end, no one escapes the cost of power. What would you choose, Chumbas? Would you follow Silverhand into the revolution, trust Arasaka's cold logic, or gamble with the unknown across the Blackwall? Let me know your path in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring fractured timelines, alternate histories, and the dark corners of Cyberpunk 2077's world, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and jack back in next time for another episode of LoreSplice, where timelines fracture and new legends are born.